The DJ Roundtable Show is live. It's the DJ Roundtable Show. Tell another DJ about the show.
It is
Please
Tuesday night.
subscribe.
It is 8 o'clock. Do you know where DJ's at? I know where I'm at. I'm here with you. Yes, it is another DJ Roundtable Show yet again. And we thank you for being here this evening. And as always, we hope you're having fun and enjoying yourself and you get some information tonight on the show. If you're watching us on Twitch, please make sure you follow the Twitch channel. And link is always down below in YouTube for the Twitch channel if you want to watch it live. As Chris is over there for his hearts because it is Valentine's Day week. It is this coming Friday, which is before Valentine's Day. So hopefully you and your friends and family are going to enjoy yourself. A happy, lovely, heartfelt holiday. And don't forget, there are heart-shaped pizzas out there. A lot of pizza places are doing that, including a lot of national chains. So get yourself a heart-shaped pizza for Friday. Unfortunately, coming up soon this week here in Chicago, we're expecting a lot of snow tomorrow and another system on Saturday. So yeah, fun stuff. It's the Midwest. It's wintertime, and that's the fun part about being here. Speaking of being here, if you're over on the tubes, YouTube, first thing first, thank you for your recent subscriber to the channel. I appreciate it. Everyone here appreciates it. Make sure you do me a favor. There's a few things you need to do. First thing first, if you're part of the 81.4% of the people that are not subscribed to the channel, again, why not? It's free, doesn't cost you anything. Click the follow button and follow the channel. Make sure you like it. Everyone's subscription or everyone's description, if I say subscription or description, whatever you look at, is down below down there. Links to their YouTube channels or Facebook or anything like that, any social media. The other thing also is that if you have a chance, hit the thumbs up. You just saw there, you saw the thumbs, bell icon, subscribe, and make sure you share with another friend. It helps with that beast, the YouTube algorithm, which I need to slay that mean beast and show people that we are a good show and a good channel. If you're listening to this as a podcast, again, thank you so much. Just watch out for that guy on your right or left side because they're creeping up on you very quickly and they're driving your blind spot. That is for a few people I know that listen to us when we drive. That is some humor if you don't get that. We try to have some fun and try to have some excitement here as always. We got some great DJs here tonight. A little smaller crew and hopefully get some more people in here. But as always, people are in and out. People have jobs. People are working. People are gigging. People have family things going on. We want to make sure to support everyone out there and that you also enjoy yourself. Hey, what's up, J-Rod? As well as I see Mikey Mike. I see Kevin.
Oh, hey, Mikey Mike.
Thank you guys for coming in. Jared is there. What's going on? I see some people in there in the chat. And again, if you're watching us on Twitch, you can watch over here and ask questions live. We try to go through that as well as what I have questions here. I have my magic Google questions here that I always have ready for our crew and try to go through some fun things, ask questions. Oh, Fred, what's going on? Man, I haven't seen you for a bit. Cool Thing had an insanely cool gig. There you go. Cool Thing does have a new gig log out. Where's your invite? Oh, okay. You want to be invited there, Kevin? Well, man, I didn't know you want to be invited. You know what? I will send you an invite. You can come in then and see. Kevin, and give me 1 second here, folks. Oh, close that one. I have multiple screens going on. If you guys haven't done so already and seen the video on how we have stuff set up, I have multiple screens with multiple things going on at the same time. And it's always fun stuff to see. There we go. Kevin, go check your your messenger, and you should have a message there for you. And yep, I wanted to see what's going on with that. All right, how do I stop myself from wanting new gear? Oh well, that we have that's a sickness. We are the cure. We are the cure for your gear needs, wants, and also have fun. Is anyone here planning on getting the QSC, the KC12, or have thoughts on it? We did a whole entire talk about the KC12 a couple weeks ago. If you haven't done so already, watch that on YouTube. I don't know if anyone here is going to get the KC12. Anyone here, show of hands, KC12? Yes, no? No, no one here is looking at the KC12. I know Jeff, he has LD for his line arrays. Dwayne's got Harbinger arrays. Sean, you got which arrays you have?
I got LD for arrays.
Okay, you're another LD. I have LD, RCF, and DB. So I have three different manufacturers, three different array systems, and three different levels. Um, yeah, right now, no. I'm not. I like QSC. QSC has a great speaker to K12. I know have friends that have the original K12 as a second gen. Anyone else here have a K12? No, no K12s. I know people who have the K12. They love the QSC K12. I'm sure they'll get the array from QSC and get that going. I have not heard it personally, but it is interesting how they made it a three-way speaker. The price is, it is a more expensive speaker. It is a little more. Um, Mike says he has the K12s. Yeah, he's a second gen K12s. I know Mike's a friend of mine, and he's also on Cool Things show. Cool Thing has a show on Thursdays. You can catch out, his show. Again, link is
Time to
down below
spin.
for him. Time to Spin is his show, and we have a wedding officiant coming in tonight, and we should have her here. Christine, she should be coming in a second or two here, and we're going to be able to talk to a wedding officiant. Christine, can you hear us?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the
Hi.
DJ Roundtable.
Thank you for having me.
No, that's great. Now, you're surrounded by a bunch of wedding DJs here, so that's why I wanted you to come on, because it is a very, very unique thing to have an officiant and to talk to an officiant, because without you, not to sound bad, the couple are not married. And as myself, as a wedding
Yes.
DJ, and all of us here do weddings, it's one of the things that we always want to support people like yourself who are there to facilitate the wedding and make sure it's done right. A couple of things I want you to talk about. Tell me about how you do your service, and tell me more about your service. I want that nice, beautiful elevator speech, so that way people understand you as an officiant.
Thank you so much. Yeah, right. Well, I kind of like to joke around and you go in the elevator, you got 30 seconds, right? You mentioned elevator.
Oh, you got a couple
elevator.
minutes. You got as much time as you need.
Yeah. So my little elevator pitch, if I only have 30 seconds, is I give bullets to each other. So, they're like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I give people, I look at me like, huh? And so then I get to explain. I marry couples, and we do vow renewals and proposal planning, because many couples need assistance with that as well. So it's been magnificent. I've been officiating for 11 years. I've had several officiants working with me, and my goal is to be able to have everyone understand the ceremony. So I've been looking and hiring officiants speaking various languages. I'm currently looking for someone who knows ASL. So it's just been magnificent. I've met fantastic vendors and amazing couples and seen the most beautiful spaces. that, I didn't even know existed. So it's been fantastic. I'm so grateful.
It is truly wonderful to have you here, and it is great when we have a professional such as yourself who is works very hard with our clients. It works very hard with DJs as well, and different DJs do different things. So I have to ask. This is actually one of the questions here in the chat. Um, how do officiants talk to couples who are considering a friend or family member officiating a wedding versus themselves? How do you overcome that when, oh, my brother can get, become ordained online and officiate the wedding? And I could tell you, me personally, I much rather have someone like yourself who's professional that does this versus a kind of a weekend warrior or one time thing, because they need a lot of coaching. I've done that from personal experience. Nothing against them, but it's a lot of coaching to get them to the level, even close to the level you're at. So, how do you differentiate yourself when you talk to a client between yourself and, again, someone who is hiring someone who's not an officiant to be an officiant?
That's a great question. First, I let them know, that that's a great choice. That's fantastic to hear that, they're giving someone this honor of doing that, of officiating. And then I let them know, like, if you have any questions, we're here for you. Um, there's no judgment or criticism or anything like that. Like, my main goal is to just help the couples however I can, even if I'm not the one officiating or one of my officiants are not the ones officiating. We want to make sure that they have memorable moments either way. And just if we can coach them and help them or share some of the vows or let them know some, like, tips and what can assist them and what can make it a smoother transition, then, we're here to assist. So, we love the process either way, and just reminding them that, always do your research, let them know what you want, make sure to be thorough and have credible information.
And that's one of the things that dealing with someone like yourself who is doing this full time, who knows all the ins and outs of a ceremony. Tracy and I, a little earlier before the show, we were actually talking to someone about their wedding, and we started talking about the ceremony. And originally, they planned to kind of do the ceremony themselves. Then we start asking questions, and the more questions we asked, the more uh, they realize that, yeah, maybe not. We can't tell
Right.
them what to do, and we whatever they hire us for, they hire us for. But it's kind of, I'm sure it's the same kind of thing with a officiant, yourself, a professional who knows what to do, dress appropriate versus, again, I've nothing against a friend or family member who does that, but there is a different level of the ceremony. And I know professionals like yourself, they always have great insight with a couple. They ask a lot of very important questions to customize that ceremony for them. And that to me is a big difference between someone who is kind of like, again, a wedding DJ who does it all the time versus someone who grabs a phone and does a Spotify playlist on some speaker somewhere and says, hey, I can do music for this. There's a huge difference between what everyone here does versus someone who just plugs in gets a speaker from Amazon and says, "Hey, I do music all night." So it's one of the things that there's differences between the two. Um, One of the questions, actually, this is from DJ Mikey. Mike, he's in the Pennsylvania area, so he is not far from Eagles' stomping grounds, and he asked, in general, and again, in general, what is the price range for officiants that you look at? What is usually what an officiant charges a range?
That's a great question too. So it really varies so details matter. Um, that makes the biggest difference is in the details and in the, hello? Are you still there?
Yeah, we're
Okay,
here.
hi. So details make a very big difference, and especially location. So I have heard Um, some officiants charge $150, and some I've heard some officiants charge up to $3,000 to $4,000. And so there's something to understand first and foremost. There's officiants and there's ministers, right? So legally, our legal term when we sign the license, we have to write that we are ministers. But my work is an officiant. The difference between an officiant and a minister, in my opinion, is that yes, that's our legal terminology. Although I don't have that background that the same, as a priest does. A minister and a priest, I mean, there's so much more education to that and so many different services that come with that. So I know certain reverends have been in the practice and have served for over 30 years, and and I highly respect that. So that's why I choose specifically to use the terminology officiant. Legally, yes, it is a minister, but that's where the price range changes as well. And that's why you see such big fluctuations because of the background as well that's included within that. For me, how we operate at Christine the Officiant, my spouse and I, we were the underdogs. We started life differently. We had our kids first and we lived together first. And it was hard. There was a lot of, challenging moments, and we wanted to have a big and glorious wedding, but we couldn't at the time. And we ended up, we were on that side where it was difficult, to do a lot of things, especially raising kids and very little and that they were back then, they have tons of needs. And so I like to function and operate with Christine the Officiant as, I don't leave anyone out. So if a couple comes to me and says, Christine, we're on a really, really tight budget, but we really want to get married and we're having, this service, then I like working with the couple and seeing what their budget is. I don't like sticking to a certain number, turning away anyone because they can't afford it. So I hope that answers your question.
No, that's perfect. And it's one of the things I'm getting questions here on the side here. Why is there the price difference? And the thing I can say, there is difference in price in DJs. You have DJs who are $500 for a wedding.
Right.
You have DJs who are $5,000 for a wedding. It's basically how elaborate that couple wants to do what they want to do. How much are they asking Christine, what they want to have? How much do they want her to do? Is it very simple, small, non-religious, or is she doing a full-on religious thing? Is there a lot of complications there? They're doing a lot of things. The more you do, the more it's going to cost, like anything else. If you're doing a setups for a wedding and you have to do 4 or 5 setups, 4 separate areas, a cocktail area, a ceremony area, a area for dinner, and there's an outside patio area they want also covered for music, and then a dance area. Okay, do you have enough equipment for that? It's going to add more complications. It's going to add more cost. So you go from something very simple that could be, again, I'm not telling you what to charge, or anyone to charge, but let's say your normal price is $1,000 and they add all this stuff in there. They start doing uplighting and monograms and stuff like that. And you get up to $3,000. It all boils down to they made it more complicated. It's customized to what the couple needs. And that's what she's doing. She's taking what the couple need and going through and saying, okay, fine, great. If you want something very simple, very quick, it's going to be less money than something that's going to be much more complicated because more work. It's time. It's like anything else, time and material. You ask a plumber, you ask an electrician, it's time and material. How much time is her time worth? And talking to her, and being with her, and again, I just saw her at the wedding show a month ago.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that when you talk to people, and again, officiants like her, it's very, very, very important to know what level they're in. She's one of the more professional ones I've run into. There's a lot of really great officiants I love working with, and there's some officiants that I'm like, I had an officiant last year, Tracy, I ran into. She kept on saying the groom's first name wrong and said the last name of the couple wrong, like 3 times, and didn't know who the groom was when he was standing basically like right next to her when she walked into the room. And I'm like, yeah, that to me. I don't know what they paid, what they did. It wasn't her. She would know what's going on. She's on the ball. Trust me. Uh, but the thing is that it's one of the things that you have to look at that. I'd like to see a show of hands here. How many people of our fellow DJs here, and Kevin, I know you had some noise coming in, so I had to mute you, but Kevin's here as well. I want to see a show of hands here. How many people here have worked with an officiant as ceremony? That's first thing. How many people would do ceremonies here? Yeah, I think everyone here has worked with an officiant. Now, as someone who has worked with many DJs, and I'm going to go through, ask some questions, let these guys ask some questions to you if you don't mind.
Sure.
If you could tell me your worst experience you've ever had with a DJ, and how can we as DJs avoid that, so we don't run into that for you?
Is that question for me?
Yeah. What is the worst experience you ever had with a DJ?
Um,
What was the worst thing you had,
What is your
and
worst
how can
nightmare?
we avoid that?
That's a great question. I think one of the worst experiences I've had was like no teamwork, no communication. I think that is the worst experience because the closest vendor that officiants do work with is the DJ. With the microphone, with the ceremony within itself of the timing of the music to where the exiting and what certain people are going to say and how it's going to be, if the officiant's going to pronounce the couple, or so communication plays a huge role. The officiant and the DJ work very closely together, and it's very important, and teamwork for sure,
And
whether it's like actual communication, like verbally, or just even eye contact. That's a big one. And I like speaking to the DJs and letting them know, like, okay, are you gonna give me a thumbs up when they're walking in? Are you gonna prep me? Are you gonna let me know? Like, are you gonna let me know you turned the mic on? Did you do I have to do it? Like, there's certain elements that are very important that need to be spoken about with the DJ.
and that is a crucial thing. Tracy and I, every time we talk to the officiant, and we would ask, one of the first things they ask is, how do you end? Well, yeah, I pronounce what, yeah, but what's that whole ending part? And we work that out with them, and it's 15 minutes worth of talking to the officiant at least, just to understand, okay, we're going to start. They know, and then I tell them, like, one of the things when you get up there, you're going to be on at this part. When you get up there, it's going to be offered the first like minute or so. When the wedding party starts coming down the aisle, I'm going to turn your mic on. This way, again, any words of encouragement or jokes you give to the groom or anything like that, no one's going to hear. I'm going to turn on, your mic on at this part. I'm going to turn the groom's mic on at this part because I do lapel mics. And I turn him on a different part because a lot of times, his friends are coming up to him, giving hugs and stuff like that. You don't want to hear that on the lapel microphone and bouncing around stuff. So you keep that until just before the bride's ready to come down. And I want him to go, oh, wow. Because I know I did that for my wife 25 years ago when we got married. And that's captured on microphone for the videographer when she came in. I went, oh, wow. She's my beautiful wife, and it's one of the things I want, that kind of gasp kind of feel from him, but I want people to kind of hear that a little bit. It's not to embarrass him or anything like that. It's to basically, it's to get that emotional connection to the crowd, but also working with the officiant, giving hand signals, making sure I give them a thumbs up so they know the mic's on. When you watch me, when I'm giving you a thumbs up, your mic is live, and I'm going to turn you off after you pronounce it when people walk down, are you making another announcement afterwards? Are you telling everyone, cocktail hour is over here? Because a lot of times officiants will do that. Working that stuff out with the officiant is very important. And one other thing also, and I know you do it, but not every officiant does this, is, like a sentence or two before the last part, if they can, move to left to right, so that way the couple gets that picture of them kissing. It's not like you have someone kind of like in the middle of a picture, kind of like creeping into it. You're off to the side, left to right, a few feet, and they're still there. They're smiling, they're happy, showing enforcement to the couple, but they don't have that awkward picture, and it's that focal point of the couple. And that's stuff like that. When I talk to officiants, is important things. We've had officiants forget to tell everyone to please sit after, after every bride comes in, you start the ceremony. We've had officiants forget to tell people. So Tracy will walk down the aisle like doing this, kind of like a bird, and like, go ahead, sit. You can sit. You can sit. Start getting people to sit down. But I think that's a lot of times. Sometimes, again, we're all human. We all make mistakes. But when you can go through that and double check with the officiant when they're going to do things, I think helps out a lot. I want to start with Kevin. Kevin, is there a question would you like to ask our guest officiant here that you always want to ask an officiant?
I can't really think of anything. I know when I do rehearsals, you can't hear me, correct?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're loud and clear.
Okay. All right.
Christine, you can hear him, right?
Yes.
Yep, there you
Okay.
go.
One of the things I do when I go to the rehearsals and the officiant's going to be there, I sort of step aside and let them take control of how they want to do for the ceremony. Now, if it's someone where I find out it's like, oh, we're friends of the bride or the groom and we just got our diploma, then I feel that they don't know what they're doing. So then I feel I need to step in and sort of guide. So I sort of find out how grizzled of a veteran the officiant is. If it is it's been doing it for a number of years, I let them take the lead. If there's something that I feel is maybe, oh, that's a little different, I'll touch base, it's like, oh, is this how you do it? Or is this, just to confirm. But I sort of just feel them out when I go to the rehearsal, and play it from there. And I want the officiant always to be comfortable, whether they want a lapel or if they happen to want a handheld or something else. I want them to feel comfortable so that they're not nervous. If they're used to doing it a certain way and having a certain way of, vocalization, like, I'm a loud person. I don't need a microphone. It's like, oh, okay, that's great. So that's sort of what I do. I don't know at this point in time anything special. I know my understanding is officiants, because I am technically one now. You do have to go through each state. I think has different rules and regs to get. Mine is just send my copy of my thing to the state. I think it's Secretary of State. I know she can mention if she knows what state she's in and some of the differences.
She's here in Illinois. She's
Okay.
local to me. And again, this is someone who I know, so that's why I got a chance to ask her to come in, because we want to keep things generic and not worry about state to state, because there's 50 states and we got other countries, Australia and stuff like that. So there's different rules in different areas. So for how someone goes about, that's for them to research, Ken. So Kevin, it's one of the things I want them, that right there for is how they become an officiant or what they got to do. Let them do it. She already is a officiant. She's registered and stuff like that, and she does ceremonies. So, she's here in Illinois. She can answer general questions. She can answer stuff about Illinois. She can't answer questions about other states unless she knows about other states. Yeah. But, I don't. Have you traveled to other states and done weddings in other states? You're just here in Illinois.
Actually, I have in Wisconsin because we're so close. I'm based out of Huntley, but I travel everywhere. And so I have, especially in Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin, like we said, but in Milwaukee as well, I'll go up that far. But I wanted to say, Kevin, thank you so much for for the guidance and for guiding the couples. And thank you to all of you DJs for everything you do, because your roles are so important. It's not just playing music. And I think, you know, um, sharing that information, we don't, like, an officiant, right, doesn't just sign the documentation. Like, there's so much more to it that we all do that needs to be, recognized and appreciated. So thank you to all of you for everything that you do. We really appreciate you.
Well, like I said before, they're not officially married until they have someone like yourself. And again, we want a professional. That's our first goal, is someone professional. I know Mikey Mike said about judges. Yes, judges. I have done plenty of ceremony with judges. A lot of great stories with them. They always have great stuff. They're always fun people. But again, they're very professional as well. And that's again, the brother, the sister, the cousin, the mother, the father who does a wedding here and there. We support them, but when you have a professional and you work with a professional, it makes life so much easier. And that to me that's why I asked her to come here tonight. So Christine's here because she is a professional and because she's another wedding professional, and she works in this realm. I'm going to go to Sean. Sean is kind of unique because he's originally from Wisconsin, so from the land of cheese, but moved down to Georgia. So he went down. I don't think he's got a violin or a fiddle to play down there, and he's not battling the devil down there. But he did want down to Georgia, and he does go back to Wisconsin. His family up there. So, but you have a question this evening for our lovely officiant that you may have not had a chance to ask another officiant before.
Yeah, I just got like a general one. Like, as a female officiant, a lot of times, like, you guys don't always have like pockets on you if you're in a dress or something. What is your preferred microphone for a ceremony? Do you like a lapel? Do you like a headset? Do you like a handheld? What do you find works best for you?
That's a fantastic question. Definitely a lapel. That's great because I'm old school and I like holding on to, it's like a portfolio book type. And I feel like having one thing in my hand is enough versus like holding a mic and then passing it around. And it's just, the lapel just makes everything so much smoother and easier. And then the stand-up mic, that's something else that I wish we could do a little bit differently sometimes, because it does get in the pictures and it does get in the way. And then when the couple is trying to say their vows, right? They have to come closer to the mic. So I wish somehow we could all figure this out besides just having everybody wear a lapel, because sometimes that's not the case, right? Sometimes there's only one available. But yes, to answer your question, my primary go-to is having a lapel.
Well, Christine,
Awesome.
there's very good suggestions. I'd say you also have to deal with the bride and groom's own limitations on budget. Doing an audio production takes a lot of equipment. We may not have the availability of getting power to get microphones or the number of speakers they need,
Definitely.
Right.
So definitely trying to work that out most certainly can make or break a ceremony.
And
Absolutely.
that's a crucial thing there, Chris, is power. We're a slave to it. And a lot of DJs have gone to the battery stuff, the battery powered speakers, Maui 5, the EV speakers that with eVerse 8 and eVerse 10 and stuff. And there's a lot of battery powered speakers out there that help that out. EV, the nice thing with them, they do have the power port on there. You can plug in a single microphone. I have the Pecron power. You can call it a generator. I've run the whole entire sound system off of that for an event before, and that right there would be my go-to, because I want to be able to have lapel microphones and handheld microphones and have everything available for everyone. But that's a crucial thing with ceremonies, and that's one of the things as DJs we ask questions. And Christine, do you ask that question where's the ceremony at? Do you ask what's their ceremony and vision? Is it in the woods somewhere? Is it on a patio? Is it inside of a building? Do you ever ask that question? Do you try and get the feel of what the couple wants?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, that's part of the process. So usually the first meeting, sometimes it really varies on how we get contacted. So usually like I'll get an email like, are you available this day? And then I said, yes, let's please, let's schedule a time to speak further. And that's usually a phone call and we get into details, or we meet in person and we go over all the details. And that's how the process begins. And I hear their love story and they tell me what's needed, and I let them know, some of the challenges that I've experienced with their locations. Like you said, some locations don't have electricity. I remind them, like, if we're outdoors and it's raining, what's plan B? I like make sure like I get the gears turning, when we're asking these questions and we have that set up meeting. And then we go through the ceremony, and we personalize. If they want it personalized, I give them an option if they'd like the traditional as well. And if we can customize it or not, we go over the ceremony several times before, and the details before the actual date in itself. And then, the rehearsal happens. We'll talk about it a little more and finalize it at least a week before the rehearsal. Sometimes we don't have that opportunity. Sometimes I get contacted 2 days before and say, hey, Christine, this is the situation. We need to get married. Can you come? There's 15 of us. We're at a restaurant. So yes, we do I like talking about all the details because that helps me plan. And I like having a backup for a backup. And that's also something I'd like to add. You asked me what I let the couples know if they're choosing, a family member, a friend, officiate. I remind them and I let them know, and I say, hey, is there by any chance a possibility that, Tom, who's reading the ceremony for you, or, doing the ceremony for you, is going to get choked up? And if so, can you have a plan B, like in place? Like, if he can't go through with it, or he's nervous in front of 400 people, that's another thing that they don't think about. They're like, yeah, I can do it. But, you know, sometimes public speaking like that is a big deal.
Stage fright.
Right. Somebody else has to come in, you don't know until that moment. So it's having a backup and really being prepared.
And that, again, that's different between a professional and someone who's not doing this all the time. Those are things they don't think about. And it's a hard part because, again, we don't want to say no to that. And we don't want people to say, oh, well, you're saying that, friends, family can't do it. They can, but there's the things that they don't think about. People think about this beautiful thing. Uncle Bob's going to come and marry me. And it's going to be perfect. Uncle Bob may start crying in the middle of the ceremony. And I've had family members who are marrying a couple start crying during a ceremony.
Yeah.
And it's emotional, and it's sometimes it's a slight sobbing, but sometimes they get really into it, and it's like they got to stop everything, and it's sad. It's sad that happens. Um, Dwayne, I'm going to ask you: do you have a question for our esteemed guest here that you always wanted to ask an officiant and haven't had a chance to ask before?
No, because I was going to ask the microphone question. I was hoping you was going to call me first so I could use
Oh,
it.
well, see, Sean beat you to it. Yeah, Sean beat you.
Great
Yeah,
minds.
but other than that, what about rehearsals? How important is rehearsals for you as far as the DJ being there? Because it's only I all the weddings that I've done where I had to do the ceremony only was asked to come to one rehearsal. So it's like, is the DJ coming early and talking to you and then keeping in contact with the the bride and groom? Is that enough, or is it best practice as far as you're concerned is the DJ being there?
Thank you for that question. Um, I would love to be contacted beforehand, and have, communication with the DJ before the ceremony. So Coming to the rehearsal, I don't think that is necessary, as more as it is just having some kind of contact. Like, hey, this is how, this is what we're doing. Because a lot of times, like, I'll ask the couple, and I'm like, what is does the DJ have this? Does the DJ have that? What's going on with it? So I know, so I'm prepared too, right? And they don't know. And then so I don't want to give them extra work to do on top of everything that they've already have going on. So it'd be nice to handle those behind the scene details without having too much going on, or, at least in an email. So that would be really helpful. But I mean, we do get through it the day of, but again, there's so many details going on the day of. It would be nice to, I'm a planner, so I really love having things done beforehand.
And that's
Do
one of the
you
things
go ahead then, based on that question he asked, do you go ahead and ask for the newlywed couple? Do you have the contact information so I can reach out to the DJ?
I do. I like doing that. And sometimes I get, crickets, and sometimes I get communication. So, I mean, it really varies. Or I ask them too. I said, can you please, have them reach out to me? I give them the information. So I try to, as much as I can. Yes.
That's
Mhm.
one of the things that I know Tracy and I do. We tell the couples, anyone has a question, an officiant, the facility manager. I always reach out to the facility manager, but the officiant has a question about stuff, please ask. I never have a problem. It's one of the things that I want them, the officiant, have just as much faith in me as they do with everything else. And it's always great when they ask questions, and it's I know beforehand, and I try to work that stuff out. Even day of, I try to spend 15, 20, like for 15, 20 minutes with them and talk to them. And I want them to know that we're there to support them. My job, this is the way I look at my job, is to support the couple. The officiant is a very crucial part of that. My job is to support that officiant to make sure they shine. It's their moment in the spotlight to facilitate that wedding, to make sure that couple is taken care of. And I need to make them sound good, look good, and feel good to make sure the ceremony goes well. And I'm going to do whatever I need to do to take care of them. If I need, I tell them what we have available and what I work with them. A couple questions in the chat real quickly. Mike said, he likes to do a mic on a stand with a pistol grip that he likes to do. He does not like lapel microphones. They make a lot of noise. They can, again, I work with lapels all the time. Again, everyone does different things, but a lapel microphone, she prefers that over a handheld. But again, a lot of officiants will use what's there. And I'm sure that she would do the same thing as a professional. And then let's see here. Fred, the godson, asked, which is the best microphone setup or combination of microphones that she remembers having used from a DJ? Do you remember any microphone that you really liked or a microphone you didn't like?
Um, that's a good one. I have to think about that.
Okay.
Definitely ones that don't make a lot of noise. And and ones that are adjustable. Those are really helpful because especially, the couples when they're going to be speaking and saying their vows, you want them to be heard, and I don't want to be fiddling with something and making that sound, and and having a delay, or an officiant having a delay and making more sounds. You don't want to have any of those little annoying details happening during the ceremony, right? So whatever we can avoid, just anything that'll make it easier, whether it's flexible, moving, no background sounds, because that's another thing too we all have to keep in mind, right? As officiants and as DJs, couples choose the most beautiful and unique spaces sometimes, and sometimes the acoustics don't work with the location. So that's something else to keep in mind.
Well, I feel the DJ should be looking at that their end
Mhm.
and making sure it fits what they need to do, and they explain that to the couple. Yeah, you're in a marble room with marble floors and glass everywhere. It's going to be echoey as all heck. Uh, the officiant may not need a microphone or something like that.
Right.
That's designed to have that acoustics because you may add in there additional frequencies that will cause feedback and cause headaches. And that's, I've done that too. I've done the music, but with the Officiant stuff like that, way the room was designed, the hall was, it captured their voice and projected their voice without microphones. And again, that's one of the things as a professional DJ, someone who does a sound, you should, as a DJ, should know that. And again, for mic wise and stuff like that, your better quality stuff is going to be your best bet. Now, I know people like Phoenix Pro and a few other brands. And again, if it works really well for you, that's great. Just make sure that you get something that you're very confident in, it works very good for you. And talk to your officiant, talk to people. Find out what they like. Every officiant's different, like every DJ. It's like going to a DJ. What do you think is the best controller? Well, one person may say Pioneer, another person may say Denon, another person may say Rain. You know, what speakers are the best speaker? You know, it's the same kind of thing, but talk to and communicate. And that is the key thing here. Christine said communication is the key thing, and that's talking to them. Reach out to them, shake their hand, say, how can I help you? How can I support you? Jeff, I'm going to go to you. Do you have a question? Oh, don't worry, Hunter. I'm going to get to you. I can say the best for last. Jeff, do you have a question for our wonderful?
Sure. Hi, Christine.
guest?
Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Ceremony timelines are, I guess, as individual and unique as the individual. Do you have favorite timelines or timelines that you do not like? For instance, if somebody wants to throw in a sand pouring or something like that, do you have a favorite that works, or do you have some that maybe don't work as well, that maybe breaks up the ceremony? What do you think?
I never had to think about that. So I think it's a combination, right? Kind of like an in-between soft spot, right? So it's, you don't want it to go too long, and then you don't want it to be like too short either. So I think a combination of two. So the typical ceremonies that I've done go between, it can vary from, I've had one, no joke, the other day, like 7-minute elopement and to like 30 minutes. So somewhere in between. And the flow of the ceremony, we work really diligently with our couples to have that flow of the ceremony. So for us, we're prepared for that in a way of how long it's going to be. And typically that's another question that we go through with the couples too, is like, how do they envision it? What do they need from it? How long do they want it to be? And I let them know if you're going to include any elements, that's going to add some time. And then typically, if they have a huge bridal party, that's going to, change the time and the length and how everything's flowing as well too.
All right, and again, that's one of the things that kind of answers another question, is how much of the script is personalized. I think pretty much the whole entire script, and that's going back through and asking. She's going to ask those key questions to build what kind of ceremony is around the couple lines. Again, she just said 7 minutes on low end, 30 minutes plus on the higher end, and you don't do full religious ceremonies. Like, you're not doing full mass or anything like that. You're just doing some parts religion, and then just the requirement, what is required there for the ceremony, correct?
Well, it's a little bit of both sometimes. So, like, as far as a mass goes, not necessarily, no. But if I would, if the couple wants to include a Catholic reading, they can include a Catholic reading. It's really based upon what they like and what they need. And sometimes, they want to make grandma and grandpa happy, so they include, an Irish blessing, or they include God in one part of the readings. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they want to make it all about, how we all are the same creatures on this planet and how we should love each other the way we are. And, it really varies. I mean, I've had every I've had so many culturally diverse situations and weddings and elopements and proposals. It's been so beautiful to see. I mean, compared to where we were 11 years ago when I first started to now, it's fantastic how everyone is so blended and cohesively just, it's universal love, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful being able to combine everything. And then in the same respect, we still have couples too where there's like, hey, I really want the traditional, like I'll give them templates and I'm like, listen, this is the traditional one. This is the civil ceremony. Like, what do you like from this? How do you see that? I have them, it's different speaking about it, and it's different, actually having black and white, seeing it on paper and seeing what it really is, and all the wording. And I let them know, please read it thoroughly, go through, take an hour together and go through it thoroughly. Like, these are the words that are going to stay with you for the rest of your life, so I hope that answers your question.
It very, very important. So, Hunter, I know you've been you want to ask some questions here, so go ahead and let them rip, potato chip.
Has there been a time when you brought your own speaker and microphone because the DJ didn't have a microphone that you wanted? Because I know I dealt with a officiant back in September. He does a lot of beach weddings, so he brought his own speaker and microphone, then just left me just to do the background music for the ceremony.
I have not yet, but that's a great idea. Maybe I should have one as a backup, especially for like elopements and last minute ceremonies.
Yeah, because this officiant once wanted a handheld. I didn't have a handheld. I only had a lapel. So he brought his own speaker system, and that probably meant that I'm not doing a good job as a DJ providing what he needs.
I disagree. I just feel that, you didn't have that at the moment, and that's okay, if they had that and that's what they're comfortable with, and then that's what it is, right? I mean, if you like spearmint gum and I like, cherry flavored gum, that's just how it goes, right? But yeah, I think it's everyone's preference, and maybe, that's a great idea. Maybe I should have something just in case and be extra prepared. Like I said, I love being prepared, but I never thought about that. So thank you for that.
I
If
got
you
a
have questions
question.
on gear, you can always reach out to us and ask. We'll give you some answers. Well, what's your question, Kevin?
I got a question if you need to fill a little more time that I
Go
didn't,
ahead.
I just sort of thought of. What's the most last minute emergency call you've got that you need to run down there and marry someone? And the other question is, what's your most bizarre officiant duties that you've done? Most unusual?
Great
Oh,
questions.
wow. Those are great. I think the most last minute was like the 2-day one. No, I take that back. It was a phone call and it was a couple of hours, and I said, hey, are you available? We really need to get married and get our paperwork in, and our license is expiring tomorrow. And I was like, what? I'm like, no way. And it was so we got together. The husband was like in a hurry to get to work, and he's like, can we hurry up? Can we do this? And can you please take it to the courthouse like immediately so that way it gets in on time? Because the officiant, and this is another thing that a lot of couples don't know, they think that they have to take over the license. And, and I said, no, I'm sorry, like it's illegal. I don't know how it is in other states, so I'm just speaking for the state of Illinois. And this is something that they may want to look at too, is that, the officiant has to turn in the license after it's signed. It doesn't go back to the couple. So that was that, and that's what I did with that one. It was just a few hours notice. Thankfully, I was available. And then, because my other officiants that worked with me were not available, so thankfully I was that day. And then, the oddest request. Oh, I definitely have to think about that and get back to you on it. But I do tell everybody, I said I'm very open-minded. I respect, all traditions and all religions. And the only thing that I will not do is animal sacrifices and or like heights. Like I've seen video clips of these people and they're like on a cliff and it looks like it's on a bungee thing and I don't know if it's real or not, but I'm sorry, I will not do that.
No
That'd be
heights.
right
No
up there with
heights.
like doing the
Chicken.
skydiving one.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't doing that either.
Yeah.
Have you ever done have you ever done a BDSM wedding?
No. No.
Of course, Sean, can't go there.
I had one, and of all places, it was in Wisconsin.
Of
And
course.
instead of a ring, he put a collar on her and had her get down on all fours while he did it. It was my most interesting ceremony.
Wow.
Yeah. That right there. Yeah. Something shouldn't be repeated.
All right, here's a few quick questions. They hasn't called on me yet. So, buddy, you
I
truly saved
thought
the
you
best for
answered. I'm
last.
sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
Man, I'm just standing here with your girl's favorite DJs here, So, is it also still customary for many times that the officiant or whoever's doing the mass for the ceremony, are they also doing grace and the blessing at dinner in many
Sure.
years? Yeah. Okay.
Sure. In certain situations, yes. And some couples don't ask that. And I make sure like
You bring it up.
myself and my officiants bring it up, yes, because sometimes they're not aware, sometimes, and you'll get the feel of, or typically I get the feel knowing because I've been doing this for so long, like they either give me the deer in the headlights look like how my kids do. And I'm
What?
like, okay,
Grace? What is that, right?
like I know they don't know, what's going on. Or sometimes they're very vocal and they'll tell me, they'll say, listen, we have no idea what to do or how to do it. And, we need your assistance. Like, please tell us. And so that's how we approach it. And we let them know, like sometimes this is what happens. And, if you want to follow that tradition, you can. If you'd like us to stay, we can. We get invited for dinner sometimes as well. And usually if that's the case, and if we end up staying, we let them know and we say, hey, would you like us to say a blessing during, right before dinner? Or, would you like us to say anything? Or is there a reading? And that's typically how we handle that.
So, and also, here's another question. Do you like being contacted, or at least you communicating with either the wedding planner, the venue, and of course the DJ? I mean, I personally would love to be contacted by the officiant. Would you even like to be contacted by the maitre d' to make sure they have all the details for the venue all set up? Or do you,
Absolutely, hands down. As many people that can get involved and make. So the way I look at it is we're all in the business of making these people's dreams come true, right? We get one opportunity to do this and to make their, they've been envisioning this since they were very little of their dream wedding. And we can't rewind it and fix it, and like, oh, I made a mistake, Control, Alt, Delete, let's do it again. We can't do that, right? So, yes, like I said, I'm very much a planner, and I train and teach my officiants that work with me the same way and let them know, like, listen, you have to have a backup for a backup for a backup. Speak to whoever you can. Like we even carry safety pins with us at times because situations have occurred where I'm like, something happens and there's a dress malfunction or something. And I'm like, oh, here's a tissue, here's a safety pin, or here's, clear nail polish for a pantyhose run or something. Like, so we always try to be one step ahead with that. So yes, whoever we can speak with that's involved, all the vendors, that would be lovely, work together as a team. I think that's very important.
Yeah,
I know.
I totally agree with that because never once in the 6 or 7 weddings that I've done, I was never contacted by the officiant because I always talk to them on the day of.
I always Well, we always carry a jump bag that has safety pins, bobby pins, super glue, all the fun
Yeah.
stuff in it. And it's amazing how much you do. It's Tide pens. I go through on a season, I probably go through 8 or 9 Tide pens a year, at least. And
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Bobby pins, safety pins, uh,
So
dress tape,
speaking of
another one to
backup,
have. It's like
Yes.
so much stuff to have.
speaking of backup, do you have someone on your team that backs up you? Say, God forbid, you're on the way to the ceremony and something happens there, you can't make up. Do you have a backup? And if not, how do you prepare your clients that, shoot, I don't have a backup? I'm sure you do. You're the professional one, but all these people that don't have a backup, what are some of the horror stories that you've heard that what happens to the ceremony and wedding?
Um, Thankfully, I have
Well,
not
knock
had
on
that
wood.
happen to me. Yes, knock on wood. I have not had that happen to me yet because I'm such a planner.
Mhm.
But things happen, life happens, right? And you never know. God forbid something bad happens on the way there. That's why another thing with Christine the officiant, we do not double book. I refuse to do it because of those situations. And, even if, unless it's like I'm within a 10-mile radius and there's a quick elopement in the morning
And
and
a
then
big
a
gap, right?
ceremony, right, like a huge gap between time wise, and I'm very close within mile radius, then yes, I'll make a consideration,
Mhm.
possibly. But that's one thing, yes, we do have backups, and we like having, like, I had an officiant, um, some of us, work together. And, the great Michael Vargas, I'll shout out to him because he's community over competition. And I feel the same way. And, we've made a network of awesome people and vendors together that we all work together. And thankfully now, there's officiants all over. Back when I started, there really wasn't. So it's nice. It's nice to have a team and everyone working together.
And the great thing is, speaking of Mike there, with his monthly group meetings, as all the vendors come in. I haven't been in one in a
Yeah.
little bit, but I know you go to it, and I know other people
Hmm.
do. And I feel that's a great thing because there's a lot of ideas exchange there. And sometimes people don't know how other vendors think. This is where you kind of pick the brain. This is why I had you here today, because it's that brain picking, that thing that, us as DJs don't always get a chance to sit down and talk to someone. We don't always go to these, multiple vendor events and just sit there
Hmm.
and have a cup of coffee and say, hey, you got a few minutes to talk at Starbucks. I'd love to pick your
Right.
brain. And that's maybe us as DJs. And again, I haven't done just because of scheduling. But if you can go out to one of those things in your area or make an area, talk to other vendors, talk to photographers, videographers,
Right.
officiants, venue owners, and start a group that you can get together with other DJs and build those bridges with those other vendors. I feel that's a big important thing. That separates you from your competition and also has reliability in the fact that these other vendors know who you are and they can turn to you and ask you questions and use your knowledge to their advantage. One quick
Your
question before we
experience,
leave.
absolutely.
Um, this is from Jared. He's up. I want to say he was up in Wisconsin, if I remember correctly. I always ask to have the officiant meet with me an hour to 30 minutes before. That's what we try to do. An hour before is set the mics up and stuff like that. Make sure we do a test, everything that way before guests arrive. Before the ceremony to run through everything. Oh, he's Bloomington. Oh, he's right here. He's right next to me. Okay. Um, I thought you're up in Wisconsin for some reason. I don't know. That's right. You're not far from me. Um, you're down in Bloomington. So, um, let's see here. Run through a mic and everything an hour before, a half hour, depending. Some officiants have not showed up until 15 minutes before it starts. So the question to you, how early do you like to arrive at a ceremony? What is your arrival time? We start at
45
3 o'clock
minutes.
ceremony,
45 minutes prior.
45 minutes prior. Okay.
Mhm.
That right there, again, that's that window that you come in and, I cannot tell you how many times that officiants, the professionals will walk up to us pretty quickly and, say, hey, I'm here. Or Tracy will ask, is the officiant here? Especially like an hour before, she'll start asking the couple, is the officiant here yet? Is the officiant here? Because a lot of times the officiant will check with the couple first and then us second, which is
Mhm.
fine. And we have no problem with that. We just want to get everything, all the ducks in a row, and make sure we talk to them and make sure we're on the same page. So we support our officiants and make them shine on that beautiful special day. Well, again, I can't tell you how fast this hour goes by. One of the things that I know that Sean was talking about is an overtime show. All the fun stuff we talk about afterwards. It is a fun time in the chat afterwards. After the show's ended, we always hang out for a little bit and talk. But hopefully, maybe one day we'll do that, and maybe we'll open a room up afterwards and have people like an after party show, and Sean can have fun there and show his animal pictures he likes to draw. He takes a crayon, purple crayon, draws animal pictures. No, just kidding.
Do you really want to talk about the pictures I draw, buddy?
We're keep everything G-rated here, so we'll keep let you guys put your minds in the gutter out there, and we'll keep ourselves clean in here. But anyways, before I end this tonight, I have to thank you, Christine, for coming in tonight and just spending this hour with us and letting us pick your brain. And hopefully you had fun here. Love to see you back here again, because I'm sure I'm gonna get a bunch of questions to ask you, and have you back here hopefully in maybe a month or two before I start getting crazy busy, and then maybe have answers for those questions. The other thing also, make sure to take note. We also have some more guests coming on this month. We have a few more people, other professionals coming in, and just make sure that you are following the channel. If you're not going to see the cool stuff like this. You're not going to be able to ask questions. And if you're up there on YouTube doing this, make sure you ask those questions in the chat. I will get those questions over to whoever is the guest and have them hopefully give some answers down the road. We are out for tonight, but before I go, again, want to thank our guests. Also want to pick who should take us out tonight. And I think Hunter has been very, very quiet. He hasn't done it for a bit, and he loves doing the takeout. So, and because Matt's not here tonight, unfortunately, Matt has some technical difficulties. He texted me earlier, and a few other people couldn't make it. But Hunter, take us out tonight. Take us home, brother.
Thank you all so much for watching this episode of the DJ Roundtable. Be on the lookout for my show on Thursday called Time to Spin, and we'll see you all next week. Peace out.
See you guys all later. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.